Hey everyone, my name is Kristen. I have the joy of moderating these two fine folks panel that'll come out here in a minute. Just a few housekeeping things as a reminder. Once this panel is finished, we need to wipe everybody out of here, and that means exiting out those doors safely so we can build in the next panel. But folks, we're gonna interview these two lovely people. We're gonna play a game, and then I'm gonna offer it out to you. The microphone is right here, dead center. But I'll prompt you to create that line, and we'll try and get through as many questions as possible. All right? Get those clappers ready, because please welcome to the stage Dee Bradley Baker and Ashley Eckstein.
Clickety click. I love it.
Have you been in an audience with these clickers yet?
No.
It's wild. It's wild.
I feel like I'm surrounded by locusts or cicadas or something.
Well, usually when there's like bug sounds, it's D. And I was like, oh, that's not coming from D.
Thanks for the cricket.
Well, and I have to say thank you all for coming. So we had a view, we were back there, and all I could see was all of those empty chairs. And I'm like, oh, nobody came. Okay. And then I come around the corner and see all of y'all, so thank you.
So, getting to work in the Star Wars universe, was this a fandom that both of you followed before getting these jobs? And what did it mean when you got them?
I need Dee to answer this.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
This is a fandom that preceded the work on the Clone Wars for me. Yes, I was very excited by A New Hope Episode 4 when I saw it when I was a kid. My parents made me a Jawa costume for Halloween of 1977, and then I was hired at the movie cinema when they re-released A New Hope in the summer of '78 to be a Jawa all summer. And so that was my first Star Wars gig, and so I've loved Star Wars for a very long time.
Oh, was it a paid gig at that
They
cinema?
paid me in movie passes, which was better than money. That was like perfect. Perfect. And I watched Star Wars all summer long.
And I've been a lifelong fan as well. One story I don't often tell very much is my dad was a Disney cast member, so I actually I don't remember. It was definitely opening week, but I got to go on Star Tours at Disney's MGM Studios when it first came out. So I was a young kid, and I remember just being so blown away by that ride. And I got a little plush Ewok, and I've just been a Star Wars fan really my entire life.
Yeah, and do you think that, because obviously the franchise has such a longevity, it doesn't matter how old, like where you come from, it just means something so much to everyone. What has it been like getting to kind of come to these sort of cons and then get to connect with those people that just want to talk to you about the universe that you're a part of?
It's really gratifying, especially coming from the days of the Clone Wars, which when it aired on Cartoon Network like at 10 o'clock at night, and it really wasn't promoted properly.
Yeah.
That the merchandise was very, very sparse, and it really didn't feel like something that was necessarily going to go anywhere. I mean, you know, they stopped making it. They smashed the creative pipeline, as Dave Filoni called it, and it was like, well, we're kind of done. And then it hit Netflix, and it took off. And then Disney took over, and then we got Rebels, and it just kind of snowballed into all these other things. So it's marvelously gratifying to come back now with all the different iterations of Star Wars that we now see, and to see your joy and your enthusiasm when you come to our tables and express enthusiasm for our little old show from Once Upon a Time. It's really wonderful to see it from all those different angles.
What is it? It's like since 2007 when it came out. That feels like decades ago, but it also feels like yesterday.
Well, we actually just celebrated, like last week, our 16th anniversary. So it came out. for Dee and I, we've been working on it together since 2006. So we've been voicing our characters for 18 years.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to add to what Dee said, my favorite part about being the voice of Ahsoka is literally this. It's being here with all of you and meeting you and getting to geek out together about Star Wars and Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Ahsoka Tano and the clones. And Ahsoka's changed my life. She's absolutely changed my life. And so my wish when I first started Ahsoka, because she was a new character, and Dave Filoni warned me. He was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how people are gonna receive her. And so I made a wish that people would eventually grow to love Ahsoka like I do. And you all have wildly exceeded my expectations, so thank you.
When y'all discovered you enjoy being a performer, was it an immediate thing of, I enjoy being this type of performer? Because there's so many variations to it, right? But getting to go into the field of, when did you discover my voice does really cool things?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, for me, I started performing as a kid, second grade, doing Oliver at my high school musical, or K through 12 school. We did a musical there. And I liked performing, I liked singing, I liked being on a stage. And then I just kind of kept doing that all the way through college. I never studied acting because I didn't think that was a viable career.
It's not.
And
In my
I know.
case.
No, my youngest daughter tells me this. I mean, she's got the talent. She says, Dad, you can't make money as an actor. And so it's like, well, honey, I actually, there are some instances where one can. But yeah, I just kind of kept stumbling around with different kinds of performing without really directing myself towards it, because I never studied acting. But it just was something I liked to do. And gradually I found it, and then, when I was late 20s or around 30, I just realized, I'm a voice actor. That's what I want to do. That's really what I'm set up for, and what would be the most fun.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, and Dee is an absolute icon
Yes.
in our world. I mean, that deserves. I need my own shaker. That deserves a clap for sure. For me, I was bit by the acting bug when I was young. I was in elementary school when I started singing and performing, and I fell in love with the Disney Channel, and I wanted to be on the Disney Channel, and the rest was kind of history. But actually, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Was that Cora who said that?
Yes.
Yeah. What Dee's daughter said is, what people might not realize is the majority of my career, yes, I have made money as an actor, but I've also kind of made the bulk of my career doing other things. Right. And I think one thing, if you want to go into this field, is you just have to always say yes and. Your path is not straight. Mm-hmm. It's full of twists and turns and ups and downs and brick walls. And I've always been willing to say, okay, well, this door just opened for me. It might not be the door that I wanted to open, mm-hmm. but I'm going to go into this door and see what's behind there. And I think that's the thing. You have to just follow your passion and do what you love, and it might not be down the path that you think you're going, but it's definitely the path that you should go. So, and I think that's relevant for anything. I think, especially I've talked to a bunch of young people who have just graduated, and it's hard to find a job, or maybe you're in between jobs. And don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to walk through a new door. Yeah. And just because you say you want to be an actor, well, I've made so many of my dreams come true through acting, but half the time I got there because I went through a door that I didn't think would get me there. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. I mean, that's the entire concept of yes and. is like, yeah, I accept your offer, and I have more of me to offer, more than just your initial idea. So, like, when you discovered you wanted to do Her Universe, like, what door opened where you were like, oh?
Actually, I'm so glad you asked me this question, because Her Universe started when a door was slammed in my face.
Yeah.
And so I was living in LA, acting full time, and everything was going great. I was working as a full-time actor, and I had met my husband, David Eckstein, who's in here somewhere, and yes, former Toronto Blue Jays. So actually, he was playing baseball, and he signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he'd had some injuries, and so we had to move to Toronto, but I had to be with him, because I had to go with him to all of his doctor's appointments, which meant that I couldn't travel back to LA for auditions. Now, this was pre-COVID, this was pre-work from anywhere. You had to be in LA to be considered for jobs. And so here I am, in Toronto, and all of my agents and managers dropped me. So literally, I went from being a working actor to nothing. It wasn't quite nothing. We were working on Clone Wars at the time, but it wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And like Dee said, Star Wars wasn't what it is today. Everyone thought George Lucas was done making Star Wars. It was this little old animated show that nobody had expectations for. And so I said, I was devastated, but I was actually here in Toronto, right down the street. And I did throw a pity party for a day where I just cried my eyes out, and I'm like, my life is over, what am I gonna do now? But instead, I wasn't going to give up on my dreams that easily. So I said, instead of focusing on what I can't do, what can I do? And so luckily, I still had Ahsoka. They hadn't decided to recast me or anything. And I said, well, what can I do with a laptop and a cell phone here in Toronto? Because also keep in mind, as an actor, as a US citizen, I wasn't allowed to work on production in Toronto because I didn't have a work visa. So here I was, an actor in Toronto, and I could not work. So I came up with the idea for Her Universe. I said, there's no merchandise for female fans, and I'm about to be this new female character. What if I designed merchandise? And I can do that from anywhere. So Her Universe was actually born, the idea, right here in Toronto. And that is a perfect example of my path. I wanted it to go this way. Instead, it took a sharp right and went that way. And it completely changed my life in all the best ways. And it started from a door slamming in my face.
And it is, I think it's true. It's like when you thank you for having your pity party, because those are just as important as then the next step we take the moment after we have that pity party. Because it's so important. Yeah. So we spoke about you being a legend. I'd also like to speak of Legends of the Hidden Temple, please, just for a moment. So,
Legends of the Hidden Temple with your guide, Kirk Fogg.
oh my God, you as a kid, raise your hand if you were like, I could crush being on that show. I thought I would be able to just destroy it. So. Yes. Can you talk to us, how did that opportunity come up? Did you understand the bigness that it would be?
Well, no, I mean, as an actor, nobody involved in the production of anything really knows how it's going to be received, or whether it has legs or gets renewed or is beloved after being, remembered after 20, 30 years. You just don't know. Really, all that you have is just giving it your best, which everyone really does. I mean, even when you see a movie or a play, and you think, my God, that was awful. It was terrible. But you've got to realize that everyone involved in making this was trying their best with maybe a bad script, or an unfortunate budget, or a director who doesn't know what they're doing. But everyone else in this grand collaboration of whatever it is was trying their best to do something that's the best that they could do. And if one or two pieces doesn't work quite right, then the whole thing just kind of, it comes off as awful, but everyone is still trying. And so you just don't know when you start making something.
Yeah.
It's like when we started, I remember when we started making Adventure Time, and John, yeah, what a crazy show. But when you were making it, it was like, as an actor, as a voice actor, it made no sense, anything that we were doing. The scenes didn't make dramatic sense. The visual I'm given is nothing like the sound that they want of the character. And I just remember John DiMaggio, who plays Jake the dog, just saying, "This is show. I want to quit the show. I hate the show." I mean, he was beside himself because we thought that this was an awful show. It felt awful. We were trying our best, but it's like, no way. This makes no sense. It's an awful show. And then, I remember Tom Kenny, who voices SpongeBob. He pulled, because he was doing voices in there too. And he says, "Look, you really don't know. You just don't know, and you have to just wait and see." And then when it aired, finally, it's like, oh, it's a really good show, and now I understand that. But there was no way from my position in the grand collaboration to pass judgment. So that was a good lesson for me, that ultimately you just don't know. And all you have is giving it your best and having as much fun as you can, no matter how it may seem, because you don't know. There's movies that were very popular. There was a movie called Tootsie. You may be old enough to remember. That was hugely popular, and Oscars and everything else. But I read about it while they were making it. No one was having fun. There was no laughter anywhere, and they hated it. And they thought it was going to be a terrible movie. Everyone involved in making it. But the director, or another one, Fury Road, was like that too. A very difficult movie to make.
Yeah.
But when the director and the editor were able to piece this together over time, it became something that was brilliant. And so just give it your best and let the rest go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the hard thing, is you guys are either in a booth and you don't know what even it's going to be applied to in the animation. So it's like you're at step 1 almost, or step like 30 in a million step process of like what this final product is going to be. However, like when folks like we're on stage right now, there's an immediate reaction. So it's just like, show up, do your best.
Yeah, and these days, post-COVID, where we're more atomized than ever, and as voice actors, we mostly just record separately. We don't do ensemble records. Clone Wars was an ensemble record show, but there are very few of those left. And so you're even more in the dark as to, you don't even know who your scene partner is, because you're just doing your lines.
Yeah.
So you just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys want to play a game?
Yeah.
Let's play a game.
So when I was in Boston, I got to play a very silly game with Matt and James, so I'm excited to get to play a game with you now. So this game involves dad jokes, aka really bad puns, all right? So what's gonna happen, in my magical bag is a whole bunch of pun jokes with their essential answer, if you will. And they're gonna try and make each other laugh. Now, they're gonna get a point if they make the person that they're reading the joke to laugh, and I will tally these in my brain, maybe on my hand. So, just as a reminder here, I'll do an example. How's that sound? So there's like a little slip of paper, and on one side is the joke. So, what did the movies come out, hello, dyslexia is very fun, and that's a true story. Why did the movies come out 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3? In charge of scheduling Yoda was. I'm a comedian full-time, and I couldn't even get that out. Jeez Louise. So that's how this will work, all right? So here, Ashley, you will go first.
At least the audience will laugh.
They'll laugh at least, yeah. But all three of us up here is like a thick piece.
I heard about this backstage, and I said, well, this is totally lopsided, because in the studio it was always me cracking up and this guy And James Arnold Taylor, we're always making me laugh. So I'm just letting you know.
We had fun making you laugh.
And you can do it, you can read them in any voice you want to.
A clone trooper walks into a pub and asks the barman, "Hey, have you seen my brother?" Oh wait, this isn't... Oh, this is just like a whole joke. Oh, it's like a conversation.
I didn't
Oh,
write
I read
these.
it backwards. Wait, no.
Okay, I see how this is going to go.
Okay. I don't think it's like a question,
Oh.
but okay. A clone trooper walks into a pub and asks the barman, "Hey, have you seen my brother?" "I don't know," says the barman. "What does he look like?"
These
I
are,
made him smile.
yeah, that's a point. Yeah, you're welcome.
I think it's funnier when we mess it up.
I think yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Any voice you want.
I'm not gonna smile.
How do Tuscan Raiders cheat on their taxes?
How?
They always file. They always single file to hide their numbers.
That was very good, but no point. She didn't sway. I don't even know if there's
Crosshair needs to
supposed
work
to
on
be
his delivery.
points. The points don't matter, folks. This is like whose line.
That's a good one. I like that.
I'm actually gonna say a joke that I know.
Ooh, please do. Go rogue. I love this.
What did the clone say when he had to go to the bathroom? "I'm ready for duty, sir." Was he laughing at my attempt to do a clone voice?
Yes, sir. Do you have to go?
Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Why did the stormtrooper buy an iPhone?
Why?
He couldn't find the droid he was looking for.
Man. I wonder whose dad wrote these.
Good. I like it.
I like them.
Where did Luke get his cybernetic hand? The second-hand store.
Wow. You couldn't sway him on that one. Sorry.
No.
It's a bit of a groaner.
Bit of a... I think these all are.
Very well. Here goes. Why was Darth Vader bad at sports? He was always choked.
Oh, he always choked.
That should have been written differently, I believe.
Okay, I'll do one more I know off the top of my head.
Ooh, I like these.
What is Anakin's favorite game? The floor is lava.
Yeah. You should have written these. I don't... All right, we'll do a couple more.
All right. Let's try it here. Okay. Why is Yoda such a good gardener?
Why?
Because he has two green thumbs.
That's cute. Because now I just picture
These are
Yoda
cute
gardening.
jokes.
And it's
Very-
adorable.
Very cute jokes.
How do you unlock doors on Kashyyyk? With a Wookiee.
I love that one. Will you do one more for us?
Anyway.
All right.
Very well. What do you need to reroute droids?
What?
An R2 detour.
I think you're both winners. Also, 3,000 points for the audience for actually laughing at those. Yay!
It's a lighthearted moment.
Yeah. Speaking of the audience, feel free to line up with your questions, and we will try to get to as many as possible.
Bonus points if they're questions we have never heard before.
Wow. Now, folks, we get through so many questions because you asked the question first. These two folks know how much you love them. And in 3rd grade, when you did this, and on an elevator you saw this, start with your question. Because then we get through more. Deal? Yeah. You say it, but the people in the line, none of them responded.
Pressure's on.
All right, please. Wow, that is beautiful. Tell us your name and ask your question.
I'm Catherine. Can you guys hear me okay? With the mic?
Yes, it's amazing.
Just go ahead. Okay, I have a question for Dee, since you are so quick to get into your voices that we all love and all that. Do you have like clone trooper conversations among your family to freak them out?
Ooh.
I heard, do I have complications in my family?
Yeah, I'll reiterate. Oh, there you go.
Do you have clone like conversations to freak your family out? Like, do you talk to yourself in clone voices?
No, basically my family doesn't want to hear the weird stuff I do in a booth. I remember when I had my first and youngest, and Josie was like, 6 years old, and I got us a copy of The Hobbit, and I was going to read her The Hobbit with all the different wonderful voices, and her response to me was, "Talk normal, Daddy! Talk normal!" And so I just read it in my regular dad voice. That's pretty much all they want to hear from out of Dad.
Fair
it turns
enough.
out.
Thank you so much.
And please open up a Per Universe store in Canada, please.
Thank you so much. Hi, welcome.
Hi, my name's Daniel. I'm a big Rex fan. My question's for Dee. You voice a lot of characters like creatures and animals and people. What's your favorite kind of character to voice?
Well, my favorite kind of character is something where we don't really know what it's going to sound like, and they don't really know what it's going to sound like, but they have an idea, and so that's usually a creature of some kind. And so it's there's kind of a quick problem-solving part at the beginning of the session, and we come up with whatever the idea is going to be, and we sort of conjure that out of the air, and then we're off to the races. So that's the most fun creatively, just because it's so open and improvisational and free. I like that.
Thank
Do you have a favorite creature?
What's
to
that?
voice? Do you have a favorite creature to voice?
I don't have a favorite creature, but I sure do love the creatures in the Airbender series in particular.
Nice. Thank you. Hi there.
Hello, name's Winston. Hopefully you can hear me all right. And sorry if this is kind of repeating things you've already answered, but how do you feel like with where you started with the characters like Ahsoka and the clones from the start, and watching them evolve both through the lore and also through the fandom, how they reacted to them?
Well, it's funny. Recently, I went back and watched like clips from the Clone Wars movies and the Clone Wars movie, and then some of the early episodes, and I was reminded at how much we literally watched Ahsoka grow up. I even couldn't believe how young my voice was in the beginning, where I usually say, "You're stuck with me, Sky Guy," but it was really young sounding, like. So if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, then technically I outrank you, right? I mean, really young sounding. But it just reminded me of that's how we all are. I mean, somebody sent me a video of when I was in high school, and I was like, oh oh my goodness, I was a kid. So it's so cool that we've had the chance to watch Ahsoka grow up. We've literally had the chance to watch her from a 14-year-old to, in Rebels, she's in her early 30s. And, that's why I say now Ahsoka lives in all of us, because I think we've learned even though it's in a galaxy far, far away, we've learned some of those same lessons that we all learn as kids growing up, making mistakes, having failures and wanting to prove yourself. So I'm very grateful that we had so much time to watch her grow.
Yeah, I mean, you can really follow the arc of the growth of the show in terms of the growing sophistication of the stories, the growing sophistication of the artistry involved in showing the cinema of the stories, and then you have these really interesting long-term arcs, such as Ahsoka in particular, that makes it particularly interesting. I mean, the clones kind of started out as kind of a group thing, and they're kind of a fixed point in this sort of doomed trajectory of the Clone Wars. But it's really something to look back just from all these different angles and to see how that show really blossomed and deepened and became more artistically satisfying as it continued on, and it continues on to this day.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. Thank you.
Wow, I'm nervous. Hi, Dee and Ashley.
Hi.
So, Ashley, you mentioned having a lot of laughs over the years. So my question is actually directed to both of you. What are your favorite memories of each other and other cast members while filming the Clone Wars?
Oh my goodness. Well, just getting, the videos that we don't have, and I'm still so sad today that we don't have them, are behind the scenes of just filming us in the studio. Because some of the funniest moments happened in between takes. Dee, like I said, was always cracking me up. But it also happened in some of the events that we got to do. So did anyone ever go to Disney's Star Wars weekends down at Disney World? Yeah, so Star Wars would take over Disney World for, between 4 and 6 weeks. And so we got to go to Orlando to Disney World together and do a show and be in a parade. And, it's those kind of moments where you just bond, and we had so much fun.
Yeah, my favorite was being in the ensemble records there at LA Studios, to have the whole cast together. And to be around the other actors, Corey Burton, who is a really remarkable performer, old Ian, who is our Palpatine, who's now deceased. Just the range of acting and to be around other actors, which again, it's a pretty rare thing anymore, unfortunately. But you learn a lot from that. It's fun to watch, it's enjoyable, but you learn a lot from these other actors who are fantastic. And you get to be in the same room with them, and we get to make the show together. I miss that a lot.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
question.
you.
And I did just think of one thing, and sorry, it's going to sound like a naughty word, but there was bloopers all the time. One for me, Ahsoka talked about, they were on the planet of Serapis, and I couldn't say it right. I kept saying Serapis, and it just sounded like I was saying the word piss. And I literally couldn't say it, and I kept without laughing. And finally Dave was like, Ashley, you gotta pull it together.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, we're going to Serapis.
But honestly, animated bloopers, like the Monsters Inc. bloopers, like any animated bloopers, there needs to be more, because they're delightful. Yeah. Also, when you get stuck on a word where you're like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard, you can't move on from it.
I mean, try to say that planet. It's a silly name for a planet.
I've seen that happen to any number of actors, voice actors, and some are very experienced, and you just find that one word in the Scooby-Doo script or whatever the script is that you just can't say. And sometimes you have to just tough it out and find it, or you have to rewrite it or rearrange it or something to make it work. But it happens to everybody.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, my name's Tori, and my question's for Ashley. So a lot of my favorite sort of Star Wars characters have been ones that have emerged like later in the history. What sort of considerations did you have bringing this entirely new character to life within a very established Star Wars universe?
Ooh, I think for me it was the fact that we recorded for 2 years before you all ever saw it. So we were, at that point, I think a season and a half, we were well into season 2 before you ever even saw the Clone Wars movie. And I had already fallen in love with Ahsoka. And so there was, at that point, there was no separating. You know, I was so in love with her, and I was bound and determined for everyone else to love her too. And so it was sad, I'm not gonna lie. There's many tears cried in the beginning when people didn't like her. I do feel fortunate that social media wasn't as a thing like it is now. I mean, there's definitely the internet, and message boards were definitely a thing, and the message boards were not kind to Ahsoka, and I read the message boards. But I think time is what helped, because it was a series, because it wasn't just a movie where it was one and done. We were continuously making more, and so every new episode that I did, I'm like, this is awesome, and Ahsoka is getting cooler and cooler and growing up and less annoying and less snippy, and I promise you'll like her. So I think just the fact that I was always ahead, and also the fact of what she represented in Star Wars was important to me, and I wasn't going to give up on it.
It's a story that I wish could be, I wish there could be a documentary made about this, but I don't think it could ever happen at this point. But all that's happened from when we started making the Clone Wars, which had George Lucas financing 2 seasons of a very expensive show on his own dime before it even had a distributor. It didn't have a network or anything, which was, that's unheard of. You don't do that. Nobody does that. But he did it. And then all the changes that have happened since then within the company of Lucas and Lucas Animation, LucasArts, that we've been through from various angles and various viewpoints. It's a very interesting story in terms of not just the creatives involved, but the whole machinery of entertainment. Yeah. And what a unique operation George Lucas had, where the creator is the owner. That's not the way Hollywood runs. Those are separate hats that are worn by separate people, typically. And so it's a very interesting story that I wish could be fully documented and told, because it was, you know, when he handed the reins over to Disney, it was the end of an era, and something that I don't know that will happen again. But it continues to flourish now. But I wish that story could be told.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing it, though. I think that's how the story will get told, right? You just keep saying it. Hello.
Hello there. I'm Tyler. I also do Obi-Wan impressions on the internet. And sometimes I do play cool. But my question is, if Ahsoka and Rex were to have a pet from the Star Wars universe, which would it be and why?
Aw.
A pet?
A pet?
Yes.
I love it.
It's gonna be a tauntaun. We gotta have a tauntaun. I want to have a tauntaun.
I was half expecting an Ewok.
No, tauntaun.
So I have a funny story about this. This was before Clone Wars was canceled, and I think Ahsoka was going to have another costume. I don't know what for. You have to ask Dave Filoni. But he was planning another costume. I don't know if it was just for an episode. I don't know details, but he texted me, and he's like, "Hey, I need to know your favorite animal." And he knew I like dogs, so I felt I didn't get any other context than that. And so I'm like, I feel like I can't answer the traditional cat or dog.
Yeah.
So I said, a monkey. Well, little did I know that Dave Filoni does not like monkeys. Like literally, if there was one animal, he's like, are you kidding me? The one animal that I literally didn't want you to pick, you picked a monkey. and it was.
Well, he should have told you that.
He should have told me. But I picked a monkey, and so on Ahsoka's boot, he was going to put this animal.
Oh.
And so I guess on the Ahsoka novel, Ahsoka has a monkey on her boot, and it's because I picked a monkey.
The hated monkey with Star Wars.
But I think the question is, would you still pick monkey, or would you have gone something else?
Oh, it became a joke.
Okay.
Once I found out that Dave didn't
Oh,
like
yeah.
monkeys, monkey all day long.
Nice.
And I told him that too. I mean, we joked about it, but
Thank you so much.
May the force be with you.
thank you.
Hi, my name's Dan. I just wanted to pay you a quick compliment, Ashley. I was one of the many people that did not like Ahsoka at the beginning, but I think that was the charm. That was where you brought that character to life.
Thank you.
And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You melted.
I can't see Star Wars without that.
You melted his hateful heart.
We're gonna have to beat you up outside for a second.
My question's actually for Dee. Where do you draw the accent for the clone troopers?
Where do I draw what?
You blend it so beautifully
The accent.
into the accent, your accent for the clone troopers.
Oh, you mean my crummy New Zealander accent? I mean, listen, really all that I did was this, is I listened to what very little there was of clone speak, of Tim Morrison, who's here, from the feature films. I listened through that and took a run at it, and then just very quickly just kind of ended up making it my own thing. That's as I remember, that's what it was, because it's interesting how the show started out, where initially they were going for more of, let's keep it, like, especially like with Anakin, where it's like, we want Anakin to sound like Anakin from the feature films, and they tried a fellow, and it's actually the character we want, we're going to tweak it some, and we're going to take it a different direction. That was much more pronounced in the case of Anakin. So I kind of used that original performance as a reference point, but I think quickly I kind of just made it into my own version of that, and that's how it lived. I mean, that's what George Lucas and Dave Filoni were going for, and that's kind of the way we went with it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So I get to be the baddie. I'm so sorry. We did it, y'all. This was a wonderful time. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you guys for being here. Get those clappers going for one more time for Dee and Ashley. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, actually, before we leave, here, stand up. I'll get a video, and I'll try.